First, you should understand the purpose and scope of what we've done. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are dozens of different ways that three-man has worked across the country. We are trying to standardize the mechanics used across the country for college baseball. We feel that we have taken the best ideas from all the systems we are aware of and incorporated them into this system. We start with the basic philosophy that we have employed. We want these mechanics to be as simple as possible and consistent throughout. We want to fully utilize all three umpires in the crew. We understand all officiating mechanics are a series of compromises since we are not able to have an official for each player. We plan to have an umpire ahead of runners waiting for the play, and when possible, an umpire behind the runner in case he retreats. We do not use the sure double philosophy. Hence, the third base umpire takes all runners into second base. We also do not believe in keeping the plate umpire home or reducing his running. We want to have one umpire dedicated to every catch, no catch possibility in the outfield. With this said, we encourage the wing umpires to go out on fly balls if there is any doubt whether the ball will be caught cleanly or if it will leave the field of play. There are a few situations where the responsible umpire should go out automatically. 1. When the ball has been hit to the outfield fence. 2. When a catch is made below the waist. 3. When the ball could be fair or foul. And 4. When more than one fielder is converging on the ball. On routine fly balls to the outfield, the responsible umpire may hold up his hand to indicate he is not going out. He should proceed to the correct position as if the play was a clean hit, but he retains responsibility if the ball is not caught. Again, we encourage umpires to go out if there is any question about the ball, and you should err on the side of going out too often. Continuing on the subject of going out on fly balls, we do not recommend a base umpire positioned within the infield cross the base path to view a catch, no catch. And once an umpire does go out, he never returns to the infield. We recognize that odd plays and situations do occur, but it isn't wise to try to plan for those. When they occur, umpires must communicate and be able to adjust to any situation. The plate umpire should be the quarterback of the umpiring crew and make sure that he communicates either verbally or non-verbally before every new hitter. Let's look at some of the signals he should be using. We would like our plate umpires to give the count at shoulder level or above and out in front of his body. Outs should be communicated with both arms extended horizontally to his sides. The rotation signal is the first finger in a twirling motion as shown here. If the situation dictates, the plate umpire will signal his partners that he will be moving to third on a fly ball tag up. In this situation, the plate umpire is signaling 2 outs, I'm staying at home, and we have the possibility of a time play. Lastly, the infield fly signal is given by touching his hat. The plate umpire has responsibility for fair foul calls on batted balls up to either first or third base, assuming that both umpires are positioned behind that base. If either base umpire is positioned within the infield, the plate umpire has fair foul responsibility all the way to the outfield fence. Here's an example of a ball hit down the third base line that the home plate umpire is responsible for. On ground balls within the infield, the plate umpire should follow the batter runner toward first base, either directly down the line or into foul territory as seen here. The plate umpire is able to help when needed on swipe tags. Catches on the infield are sometimes difficult and require good timing, communication, and eye contact. The plate umpire is primarily responsible for all catches by infielders coming straight in toward home plate, all catches by the pitcher, and by the first and third baseman when the catch is made directly in front of them. Plate umpires have no outfield catch responsibilities when both base umpires are positioned on the baselines. When U3 is positioned within the infield, the plate umpire has all catches by the left fielder moving toward the foul line all the way to balls going out of play. When U1 is within the infield, the plate umpire has the same responsibilities in right field. Half swing requests should always go to the base umpire on the open side of the hitter. Remember to always use your left hand when asking for help to avoid confusion over the pitch being called a strike. The correct mechanic is to ask, did he go? Now let's talk a little about correct positions to take plays at the plate. There are two acceptable positions in which to take plays at the plate. The first is on the imaginary extension of the third base line. The second is on the imaginary extension of the first base line. Here's an example of a play at the plate where the home plate umpire is positioned directly behind home plate and can move in either direction should the throw take him or the runner one way or the other. For plays which the home plate umpire is required to rotate to third, he should move toward third in foul territory and then move into fair territory when the ball and runner advance to the base. Now we'll move to the first base umpire. First, some basic signals. The infield fly rule.
Got infield fly,
Regular rotation.
rotate, rotate.
And reverse
I'm
rotation.
coming behind you this way, moving this way.
Now let's move to the starting positions for the first base umpire and their basic responsibilities. When U1 starts on the foul line, he should be 10 to 12 feet behind first base and in foul territory. At no time should the first baseman be behind U1. With a runner at first base, U1 should move closer to the bag to be in position for pickoff throws. With a runner at second, U1 should position himself as shown here. U1 has fair foul responsibilities for all batted balls that hit the base and pass over the base. For ordinary plays at first base, U1 should be 8 to 10 feet from the base and 2 or 3 steps off the line. For plays where the second baseman moves toward the baseline to field the batted ball, U1 should move to a position in foul territory to view the play. A slightly deeper position is appropriate for plays where the pitcher covers and receives the throw from the first baseman. In the event that a throw by the infielder pulls the first baseman off the bag, U1 should take at least one step toward the foul line in an effort to view the first baseman's foot and any attempt at a swipe tag at the batter runner. On infield catches, when U1 is on the foul line, he should rule on any balls hit where the fielder is moving toward him. It is possible for U1 to have the best look at a ball that the shortstop or third baseman dives for to their left. When U1 is in the middle, he should have all catches except the pitcher. He may need help from the umpire-in-chief on balls to the second baseman moving toward first and from the third base umpire on balls to the shortstop moving toward third. When U1 starts on the foul line, he has responsibility for all balls in the outfield when the center fielder is moving toward the right field line, all the way to balls going out of play in right field. When U1 starts in the middle of the infield, he has coverage of all balls hit to the center fielder moving toward right and balls straight in or straight back of the right fielder. Now let's talk a little bit about when an umpire does go to the outfield to cover catches. First of all, we want you to communicate verbally and non-verbally by raising your arm when you're going to the outfield. Also notice that the first base umpire here does not move directly toward the batted ball. Better to take an angle at the play. Now we see the first base umpire entering the infield and pivoting when the third base umpire goes out. Notice that he times his pivot so that he can observe the base touch of the batter runner. Now we see a normal rotation of the first base umpire into home plate. Notice that he moves all the way around behind home plate to take a possible play where he would if he was the home plate umpire. In this scene, you see the first base umpire stop before going all the way into home plate because the runner at second does not commit into third base. This is our key. When he commits to third, we commit to home plate. Here's an example of how we'd like our umpires to hustle in between plays. We all know it's crucial to hustle during the play. Look how good it looks as these umpires jog back to their next positions. Next, let's observe the first base umpire when a pop-up is hit to the first baseman. Notice how he reads the first baseman, lets him pass, and then moves with him. In this next scene, the ball drifts back toward the foul line, and notice how he stays between the fielder and the foul line so he can call fair foul. Lastly, let's discuss some basics for the third base umpire. Starting position with no runners on base is 12 to 15 feet behind third base and in foul territory. From here, U3 has all catches by the center fielder moving straight in or straight back, all the way to out of play in left field. As you can imagine, there can be some question as to whose coverage it should be when the ball is hit directly to center field. U3 must make the decision whether it is his coverage or U1's. U1 must look to U3 immediately after the ball is hit and before he starts out to confirm who is covering the fly ball. Even if the center fielder ends up moving more toward right field than left, if U3 has committed to going out, he should continue. If both umpires end up going out on the same ball, U1 has erred. U3's fair foul responsibility is the same as U1's. He only has batted balls that hit the base or go beyond it. As we said at the outset, U3 moves into second on all clean hits for plays on the batter runner at second base. With the runner on first only, U3 takes a position just to the shortstop side of second base at the cutout. With multiple runners, U3 moves closer to the pitcher's mound and halfway between second and third. From here, U3 has the best chance of getting a good look at steal plays at third or second. When positioned within the infield, U3 has outfield catches when the left fielder moves straight in or straight back over to the center fielder moving toward left field. From either position, U3 has all catches by infielders moving toward him. Lastly, here's a shot of the third base umpire communicating to his partners that there's an appeal play coming and he's responsible.
Bob, we've got an appeal. Mine.
Now we'll move into three-man crew mechanics, starting with no runners on base. On an overthrow at first base, the third base umpire will have responsibility all the way
Bob,
to third
I got
base.
third if he comes.
On a ball hit to right field where the first base umpire goes out, the plate umpire has responsibility for any throwback at first base. On a clean hit to the outfield, the third base umpire rotates into second, and if the batter runner advances all the way to third, the plate umpire has that responsibility. On a ball hit to left field where the third base umpire goes out, the first base umpire pivots and takes the batter runner to second or all the way into third if he advances. On a clean hit where neither umpire moves to the outfield, the third base umpire moves into second base, and if the batter runner advances all the way to third, we have a normal rotation with the plate umpire coming up to third base. Let's recap the situations with no runners on base. First, our third base umpire dictates all outfield coverage. No sure doubles. Third base umpire takes the batter runner into second base at all times. On a clean hit, our plate umpire takes the batter runner into third base. And when first base umpire goes out, the plate umpire has any throwback at first base. Now with a runner on first only. On an attempted pickoff overthrow, the first base umpire will go with the ball to observe the ball possibly going out of play. A note here, an optional coverage is for the first base umpire not to go with the ball if there's no threat of it going out of play. He would then rotate to home plate as the plate umpire rotates to third if R1 advances there. On an attempted steal of second base when the ball is overthrown, U3 rotates back to third base for any possible play. An acceptable option here is for the plate umpire to rotate up to third base as shown. The first base umpire would of course then rotate to home plate. When U1 goes out on a fly ball, the home plate umpire has all throwbacks at first base. Here a ball is hit to left field. Notice the plate umpire getting out from behind home plate and down the line to rule on catch, no catch. On a clean hit to the outfield, we have a normal rotation. Notice the third base umpire, when R1 commits to third base, picks up responsibility for the batter runner. Let's recap with the runner on first only. Our third base umpire is positioned within the infield. Our plate umpire has catches by the left fielder moving toward the foul line. We have two optional coverages. First on an overthrow at first base on a pickoff, and second on an overthrow at second on a steal. If our first base umpire goes out, plate umpire has any throwback at first base, and we always rotate on a clean hit. Now we'll move to runners on first and second. On a ball hit to right field that U1 goes out on, the plate umpire stays home, and the third base umpire has any responsibilities for a throwback at first base. Another ball hit to right field, U1 goes out, the ball falls. Our plate umpire staying at home, but notice the position of our third base umpire, behind the mound, ready for any throw to any base. Here, a ball hit to left field. Plate umpire moves out from behind home plate toward third base, ready to move in if R2 tags and advances to third. On a clean hit, U1 enters the infield and has any play on the batter runner at second base.
I got the backside, Rich, I got the backside.
Here's the same play from above. Watch as U3 takes R1 into third base, knowing his partner is behind him. Recapping with runners on first and second. Our third base umpire is positioned within the infield. If our first base umpire goes out, the third base umpire has all plays on the bases, including a throwback at first. On fly balls, when R2 tags up, our plate umpire has him into third base. And we reverse rotate on all clean hits. Now we'll show crew mechanics with the bases loaded. On a ball hit to right field, the plate umpire lines up R3's tag and gets back to home plate in time for any play. You should also notice here the position of U3, directly behind the mound and ready for a play at any base. On this ball hit to left field, the plate umpire has catch no catch responsibility as well as the tag by R3 and his advance to home plate. On a clean hit to the outfield, U1 enters the infield, watches the base touch it first, and has any play on the batter runner at second base. We'll see the same play from the overhead view. Again, notice how the third base umpire moves directly toward third base, knowing his partner's behind him. Recapping with the bases loaded. Again, the third base umpire is positioned within the infield. Our plate umpire has R3's tag up on all fly balls, and the plate umpire always stays home in this situation. Remember to reverse rotate on all clean hits. Now runners on first and third. With a fly ball to right field, U1 goes out. Plate umpire lines up R3's tag. The third base umpire has any play on R1. This fly ball to right, but the ball drops. Plate umpire communicates that he's staying home, and U3 has all plays on the bases. On this fly ball to left, plate umpire has catch no catch, tag of R3, and his advance to home plate. U3 has all other plays. On a clean hit, the plate umpire observes the plate touch and then advances to third base on a normal rotation. Notice U3 assumes responsibility for the batter runner. Now we recap runners on first and third. Our third base umpire positions in the infield. Our plate umpire has R3's tag up on fly balls. If the first base umpire goes out, our plate umpire always stays home. Our third base umpire would have any throwback at first base. And we rotate as normal on a clean hit. A runner on second base only. On a ball hit to right field, note where U1 moves to line up the tag of R2.
He's safe.
On this fly ball to left, U3 goes out, and the plate umpire moves up toward third for R2's tag and advancement. A second option for the same play is for the plate umpire to stay home, U1 to line up the tag, and take R2 into third base. On this fly ball to left, U3 goes out, the ball falls, and U1 has all plays on the bases, including R2 at third. On a clean hit, notice how U1 retreats to the back of the mound and is in position for any plays that may develop at first or second. With a runner on second only, our first base umpire starts within the infield. The plate umpire has responsibility for catches by the right fielder moving toward the foul line, and we have an optional coverage. If U3 goes out, our plate umpire can take R2 into third base on a tag up, or our first base umpire can slide over. Now with a runner on third only. On a fly ball to right field with U1 going out, U3 must remember to enter the infield for any plays on the batter runner at second base. On a fly ball to left field, U3 goes out. The plate umpire has the tag up of R3. He also is responsible for any throwback at third base and, of course, plays at the plate. If that fly ball to left field should drop, U1 has all responsibilities for the batter runner at first and second base. Recapping with a runner on third only. It's good to think of this situation as no runners on base. If U1 goes out, our third base umpire must move into second base, and our plate umpire has a tag up of R3. If U3 goes out, our plate umpire has the tag up and any throwback at third base. If U3 goes out and the ball falls, our first base umpire has a batter runner all the way to third base. And our last situation, runners on second and third. On this fly ball to right field, note how U1 has responsibility for the catch no catch, and both umpires line up their runners for their tag. On this ball hit to right field, notice how U1 again retreats to the back of the mound. He's able to watch the base touch at first base and then position himself for the play at second. On this fly ball to left field, U3 goes out. The plate umpire has R3's tag, and U1 retreats to the back of the mound, has R2's tag, and then advance into third base. On this clean hit to the outfield, again, U1 retreats to the back of the mound and is responsible for all plays on the infield, including throwbacks at third base. Recapping our last situation, runners on second and third. Our first base umpire is positioned within the infield. Plate umpire has all catches by the right fielder moving toward the foul line. And if U3 goes out, our plate umpire has the tag of R3. And our base umpire has all plays on the bases. That concludes all of our situations for three-man mechanics. Now let's recap some necessities for having a good game. You should always start with a thorough pregame conference. Between hitters, you should use correct signals and make eye contact with all of your partners. Be sure to communicate rotations, reverse rotations, and all coverages during play. In the event of an odd play or a mistake by a partner, be prepared to adjust and cover. Lastly, and most importantly, be sure to hustle at all times. In closing, I would like to echo Bill Thurston's comments at the opening of this video. Your efforts as an umpire for NCAA baseball are greatly appreciated. The time all of you take away from your jobs and your family can never be repaid. Most of you officiate for all the right reasons, love of the game and camaraderie, to name a few. I challenge each of you to renew your commitment and raise your level of officiating for the coming season.